Certo, não apanhei.
Mas também vou seguir.
Já vai. Deixa estar aí.
Para apanhar o Vitor.
Vai sair aí.
Research and Technology Park. I would like to welcome you here in the park and welcome our friends from Portugal. Thanks for visiting us here in Sharjah. We're very delighted to have you here and have also the best of Portugal architectural innovation today with us here in the park. We're very excited to hear from you the latest on innovation related to architecture and especially your focus on wood. I think that's a focus of today. The park, for those who don't know, is a brainchild of His Highness the Ruler of Sharjah's vision of making Sharjah the center for innovation, technology and entrepreneurship. We pride ourselves in Sharjah to have the largest academic city in this region, which is we're surrounded with more than 22 universities and education institutions, and more than 45,000 students and 2,000 PhDs. This is for us is a wealth of talent and a wealth of potential businesses and potential technology. The technology park here is a platform to engage academia, to engage private sector, and to engage the government all under one platform, which we call triple helix. The park started nearly 4 years ago. We pride ourselves today to have different technologies developed here, whether it's in transport and logistics. Probably you saw the next generation trains technology that we are developing here. We also pride ourselves to have a significant development on technology related to 3D printing, additive manufacturing. We have one of the biggest labs in the country downstairs here. You can go and visit. We print components for oil and gas, for automotive. We use metal printing to print that. We also have significant labs upstairs you can also go visit for 3D technologies. We also have things that are related to architecture, technology of mixed reality, virtual reality and augmented reality, which is just in the corner here. You can go and visit the Experiential Center. And also we have things in agriculture technology. So the park is, through its time, worked very hard on attracting different type of technologies into our ecosystem here. Our ecosystem thrives on partnership. We are very, really excited about our relationship with Portugal. We've been getting businesses and visitors coming throughout the month so far. Today actually we have 2 delegations from Portugal, which is great. And I'm really happy to have also a representative from our business community here, our academic community, and also government sitting with us here. It's a great opportunity. I had a conversation very quickly with Mr. President about the focus of this session today, which is really using wood as part of architecture, as part of buildings, and as part of furniture. In this part of the world, in the UAE at least, we've always been a little bit hesitant to use wood because we have problems with the weather. And if technology and architecture will be able to solve those 2 issues, then I think wood is great development for us now. The good news, as I was telling Mr. President here, that we have a very nice wooden house just like 1 kilometer here inside the park. I invite you all to go and visit this wooden house because I believe it's the best practice wooden house. If you want to see real application of wooden house, you can go, probably most of you seen the wooden house at the corner there. Have you seen it? No? It's belong to Skyway. I think our team, if you have time, you can go and visit, and that would be a real application and a real demonstration of your innovation as well, because I think you can relate to a real example. But wood is a big industry, and I think it's more sustainable and more healthy for many diseases as well, vis-a-vis cement and other things. So today I think we will have a great opportunity to hear from experts on wood. We would be more than happy to help and promote. I think there are a lot of applications that we can use. I will also encourage you, Mr. President, and your association, maybe to do some sort of a demo here to showcase your innovation here. So we can show, the world, and we can show our government and our private sector that actually this can work, and you can use it whether for your stable or for your house or your farms, and instead of using a concrete. So I wish you all the very best here, and to enjoy the session, and network please, and do make business together. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Dr. Nadia Hassani. I'm the Dean of the College of Fine Arts and Design at the University of Sharjah, and I will be moderating the session for today. Thank you very much for the invitation. I also want to acknowledge the presence of our students from interior design, led by their faculty. I have to do some promotion for my students as well. So welcome everybody. We're running a little bit behind, and I understand the reason for that. For the delegation, instead of the bus bringing them to Sharjah, they were on their way to Abu Dhabi. So they had to do a detour and come back. So good to have our guests. I'm very familiar with our guests' work. They were here previously, and they did contact the university, and I think you're totally going to enjoy the presentations today, and I look forward, like all of you, to a healthy discussion. If you don't mind, so we can make sure that we are on time, we will leave the questions and answers to the end. So just hold off, and I promise that we'll get to everybody's questions. I would like to start first with Mr. President. Again, welcome, good to see you in Sharjah. This is the second time we see you. Victor Poças, Dr. Victor, is the president of what's known as Aimmp, which is the Portuguese Association of Wood and Furniture Industries. Okay, we're going to practice Portuguese by the end of today. He actually has a very interesting CV, and it's very long, so just to make it short, his background actually is in business management and business administration from the Portuguese university, but he actually developed and has expertise in the health sector management as well as public-private partnerships. He started working for hospitals, and he was on the board, very interesting CV. He was on the board of the University Polytechnic Higher Education Cooperative, right?
Health science.
Yes, of sciences, health sciences, yeah? Of sciences. And since then, he's actually on a number, very active on the European scene. He's on a number, either presidents, vice presidents, or on the boards of the Confederation of the Portuguese Business, Portuguese Confederation of Construction and Real Estate Business, Training Center for Woodworking Industries and Furniture, European Confederation of Woodworking Industries, European Confederation of Furniture Industries, as well as the European Timber Industries Confederation. So wood is very much part of what he promotes and what he's very familiar with, and so hopefully we'll see how we can transfer the Portuguese knowledge in terms of working with wood and coming up with products that work for this part of the world. So I'm going to start first with a video, with all permission.
Portugal is one of the oldest countries in Europe, having its borders set since the 12th century with an enormous historical and cultural heritage. since then has experienced important developments. In the 15th century, the Portuguese discoveries were responsible for the creation of the largest commercial maritime country, having become one of the greatest political and economic powers, an undertaking that ensured important advances in technology, cartography and astronomy, as well as in wood shipbuilding. The talent of its people is, not only in the past, marks of contemporaneity shape that contours of the current history of this country. Portugal is a safe country with excellent infrastructure and stable political environment, with a secure tax system offering good conditions for foreign investment, which has managed to attract large multinational companies and international trading. Get to know Portugal and its woods and furniture industries. In recent years, Portugal has shown a new approach and high degree of dynamism and creativity in wood building materials, furniture industry and interior design, becoming one of the major global suppliers of the market. Portuguese wood and furniture industry offers an unparalleled variety of products of proven quality and excellent design, providing integrated solutions to fully satisfy the ever-changing technical demands and creativity of architects and designers. A combination of contemporary design with the craftsmanship passed on from one generation to the next, supported by the state-of-the-art technology processes of production. The Portuguese wood and furniture industries possesses great experience and tradition, as well as remarkable flexibility. The sector is backed up by a significant group of top-quality companies with knowledge of international markets and is equipped with the most up-to-date technology, constantly investing in research and development of products and manufacturing processes and new design. The Made in Portugal brand has many benefits. Eco-efficiency in the productive process, concern with the sustainability of the sources of supply, product flexibility, but standardized scale production, focus on the high-quality materials carefully processed for the best performance, worldwide distribution with assurance in logistics and prompt response. The wood and furniture industries export 2.6 billion worldwide per year, and the sector is represented by the Portuguese Association of Wood and Furniture Industries, which mission is to represent, promote and protect the interests of Portuguese companies. A history of success with more than 65 years in supporting the sector, made up of more than 8,000 companies and 55,000 jobs. Through Aimmps internationalization strategy, the Interwood and Furniture program supports Portuguese companies to expand into new growing markets. Over the years, this program has supported more than 300 companies throughout more than 140 actions in more than 20 markets, having certainly contributed to the growth of the sector's exports by around 1,000 million euros in the last 9 years. We invite you to meet our companies.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you very much for attending this conference. Thank you very much for the Sharjah Research, Technology and Innovation, the person of your director and Tiago is a Portuguese person. Congratulations to stay here with us. Thank you very much for Nadia. You are my friend, and thank you for your support in this conference and as well in the future. I think that we will have some activities in cooperation between Portuguese universities and the Aimmp and your university. Thank you very much for Daniel Pontes. You are the best every time with us in Middle East. Thank you very much for your support. Thank you very much for Arquiteto Carlos Castanheira. Is one of the best Portuguese architects in wood. It's a pleasure to come with us for this conference. And Arthur Soares is one of the best Portuguese designer, interior designer, and it is a pleasure to come and to talk about Portuguese design and European design. And thank you very much for the communication that stay with us to promote our country and our products. My name is Vitor Poças. I'm president of Portuguese Association of Wood and Furniture Industries. Also president of TIC, European Timber Industries Confederation. Also board member of the FIC, European Furniture Industries Confederation, and another jobs that I have all days. In this case, I want to say that Aimmp elected the Middle East as one for this year, 2021, after the COVID risk or COVID crisis, to promote the Portuguese and European design in your region. So in the frame of Interwood and Furniture and Associative Design, the best of Portugal, now with the umbrella, the Made in Portugal Naturally, and with the support of the Portuguese government, and in this case directly by ICEP, that is a Portuguese agency to promote the foreign commerce. We are here to show you our design and our solutions for your houses, homes, hotels, office, and infrastructures, several infrastructures. So I'm very happy to be here, and I have sure that we have opportunity to offer the best of the best products for your homes. We have a big project in this case that it's the name is Associative Design, the best of Portugal, and we will speak again about this project. But now I want to say that we was in the wood show in March. We was in the fair, this wood show. And then in May and June, we was in the Index Dubai, or Hotel Show Dubai, and as well in Mirdif. In September, we was in Jeddah and Riyadh with a beautiful exhibition for the hospitality, for the Hotel Show Riyadh. And now we return again for Dubai to make exhibitions in the downtown design district So we made the exhibition in downtown Design Dubai, but we will be in this month, during 1 month. As well, we have an exhibition in the Portuguese Pavilion in the Expo 2020 with this umbrella made in Portugal naturally by Associative Design, and I invite all to come with our Portuguese Pavilion to visit our exhibitions, which showcase about the traditional professionals in all weeks changing about the handcraft professions in Portugal. In December we will be in the Sharjah, in the Furniture 316 with a new exhibition in the fair. So, and in the parallels, we are with the 24 or 25 companies in trade mission to organize some meetings, B2B, or visit the Chamber of Commerce of Dubai, Chamber of Commerce of Ras Al Khaimah, and in this conference and then other meetings with the companies of this region. So we are with the focus to promote the European design is the reason that we come with the designer and the architect to offer the best products for yours home. So thank you very much for this attending. I think that we have some ideas to create a new project in wood in your region, because wood is amazing, is beautiful, is healthy, is sustainability, and I will talk about sustainability in the second round. But now I leave my words for the next presentations, and more one time, thank you very much for this attention.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. The highlight of this morning is Carlos Castanheira. It gives me great pleasure to introduce him. He's originally an architect who was educated as an architect in the College of Fine Arts at the School of Fine Arts in Oporto. And then he spent 9 years in Amsterdam between studying and working, returned back to Portugal and founded the practice of Carlos Castanheira and Clara Bastai, who is his partner. And then he works mainly in private sector, but I just spoke to him earlier before we started. Since he was a student, he managed to be completely involved with the well-known Portuguese architect Alvaro Caesar. Many of you know him. Mostly he does work with him on international projects, which gives him a great experience in terms of practice. Today he specifically is going to be talking to us about his experience with wood in terms of construction. But his long list of over 15 awards, sorry Carlos, I'm going to go with the last 3. The last 3 awards that he received, which gives you an idea of his experience. He was one of 8 finalists in 2019 for the National Prize of Architecture in Timber, which was for a project called Field Viana Hotel, right? And this is a hotel in Portugal. In 2020, he received the award for the real estate prize for Espresso and what is this, a category in construction and sustainable architecture, where he received an honorable mention for the project T-Top Walk. Maybe you'll share it with us today. And most recently, 2021, he was awarded the International Platform Art Daily, the category of Cultural Architecture Building of the Year 2021 for a project with architect Alvaro Caesar in China. So without further ado, welcome Carlos, and we look forward to your presentation.
Thank you for being here. It's a pleasure. Thank you to be here, and I hope I don't disappoint you. I have some projects. I brought with me some projects of wood. I was invited by the Wood Association of Portugal, and so it's a very pleasure work I do. I like very much. I live in a house made in wood, and there is no innovation without tradition. So only when you have tradition, when you study the tradition, you can innovate, you can go forward. So I brought some of our traditional wood constructions. These are farm constructions for corn. And of course, we still have those things. These are old photos, but we still have those things in a very good, still using. And so we have a good way to study how the wood was used, how the things were built. And we also have, like Professor Nadia said, we have a very famous architect. He was my teacher, I'm his partner in many projects. I'm a very good friend. He made a project when he was very young, very, very young. He started very young. It is a swimming pool on the sea. And this part of it is made in wood. As you can see, it's an old photo, and you can see the mixture between the rocks, existing rocks, and the construction. And here you can see that the swimming pool is quite special because it's used the rocks, because our sea is quite wild. So we need to have some place to swim, because it's very funny to play with the waves, but to swim is not so easy. But you can see that along the avenue, the boulevard, there is a construction made of concrete and wood. And the concrete is already repaired several times, and the wood still is okay. Although it is nearby the sea, has the influence of the salt, but the wood, it's a very good construction. So the roofs are made of wood. And this building is almost 60 years, and it's still a pleasure to visit. So with this, we learn, we try to understand how the material is and how to. And so when I got the first, not the first, but one of the possibilities to make in wood, I made a little house on a national park. We cannot make big houses on a national park. Usually we don't make big houses also, but we do sometimes quite big for us, for our standard. And it's nearby the water. There's a dam, a big artificial lake. On that dam, I designed this little house. It's a special house because the difference of level was very big. The client wanted to see the water, and if I was putting the house on a lower level, he could not see the water, so I decided to put this house on pilotis. So as you can see, it's standing from the ground. The ground was an existing tennis court, and so I made higher. That way I could make a big deck where people could be outside and enjoy. And so it's all made of wood. It's already 15 years old. It's doing very well. And so it has this particularity of giving some pleasure to be in it. So it's, as you can see here, is the huge deck that you can see the landscape. This is a special landscape. It's one of the regions where it rains more in Portugal. It's very green. And so the interior is very open, tries to be very open to the outside, connected to the exterior area. But always with very, very open spaces. Fireplace is something that is very common in Portugal because we have very nice weather, but sometimes, especially in the winter, of course, we need to have some heating. And so you can see that although it is a wood construction, we can use stone not only on the floors but on the walls. So it's a very interesting way of. And here you can see the image that is quite very well known, that you can arrive to the house by a little bridge, then go down to the living area, and then go down again to the storage. And if you walk down, you go to the private beach of this lake. Another thing that is now becomes quite common because we have a big development are the wineries. We are very, very good in making wine, very big tradition. And lots of wineries started to be renovated because our laws are much more strict. And, of course, wine is food, so it needs to be a lot of hygienic handling. So I was invited to do. I brought today 2 wineries. There are extensions, let's say, of existing ones. And so you can see that my approach was not to make traditional, but to make on a line of tradition, to use the existing materials, the stones, the different stones that we have on the side, and the wood construction. And they asked me to make the connection between existing and new one, and also the inside, so to make some events, some parties, some marriage, for example, that is very common. So this is the big space, the main big space. And architects in Portugal, we do everything. We try to do everything. So we do not only, let's say, the concept, but we do all the interiors. We design lamps, by example. And so we still are very much Beaux-Arts, fine arts architects that we design from. Another thing that is also very becomes quite common, it's and related with the material, the wood, it's the Equestrian Center. So this is a private one. It's not a very big one, but it's very close to the sea. And this was, of course, a very nice, an interesting approach of design because the dimension was become bigger, not for living people, but for living horses. And sometimes even they are much better treated than people. So it's a very, very specific situation how to give comfort to these animals. And so it's a very special with different rules, and the wood can give a good answer to this new problem. So this is the big hall where you can make competitions. There are, of course, regulations about that. And I also was a horse rider a long time ago, so I knew some of the regulations, so it was very specific. But as you can see, these buildings can be made in wood and even be close to the seawater, the salt, and it even protects it. So it is still being used for maybe 10 years, something like that. It's a private one, but has some movement. And it's a pleasure every time I go there to see that it's very well treated, the maintenance. Another project that is maybe 5 years old, already Professor Nadia spoke about it. It's a hotel on the dunes. In Portugal, the dunes are protected, but this one, it could be it's not a protected dune. We could build a hotel very close to the sea. Our sea is not only wild in the waves, but also in the wind. So there are people from all over Europe and also from abroad to make surf, kite surf, wind surf, all over the year. So, and it was missing a hotel it's really the target of this hotel is people that play, that makes sea sports. It's not a big hotel. It's only 42 room and nine bungalows, but it's a very low profile, very long building, so that every room has a sea view, not touching the sand of the dunes, and part of it is inside of these pine trees. And nobody puts the foot on the sand. Everybody walks on this elevated walk. And so we try very much that the site is not touched, so to preserve and to try not to use the soil as to destroy it. This is the main hall, the lounge, and the restaurants with these bigger ceilings. And of course, it's a different hotel. There's not many hotels in wood, and not so close to the sea, so it's quite a big success, although it's a small one. Here you can see the inside swimming pool with the double height, and the restaurant, breakfast areas, and the views. And one of the rooms. So all this is wood structure, wood finishings. I like very much to do the structure as finishings. So it's always a pleasure to see very fast that the volume and the finishing is done. And now we jump quite fast to another experience. We have a very good and special museum in Porto, very famous modern art museum, contemporary art, and he's on a big garden of a very nice villa, a villa from the 30s. And on this garden there is wood, and on this wood they asked me to make a treetop so that they could do different lessons for kids. They have a big program for kids. And so it was a very interesting experience because it seems that you are very high, but the treetop walk, it's totally horizontal. So it's very easy for people to walk, but because the ground goes down, it seems that you are very high, and you are related to the soil. But it goes to 23 meters is the highest point, but it's quite interesting. In this case, we made a mixture of in reality we make two mixtures. One that is metal structure with wood, and also another thing that they ask us is to use old wood in this structure, to try to make the most as possible wood that was already used in other houses, so from demolishing. So and it was not so easy because the industry of the wood is not so open to use dirty wood, let's say, but we could reach to do all the paths and different structures in it. So you can see that this goes along the trees, not touching the trees, but was quite interesting and difficult to do it and to build it without touching the trees. We are completely forbidden to cut even a little piece of a tree. And so you can see people passing, sometimes you don't see people, and so you see that it's quite high, and it's a very pleasure. In the middle of the walkway, we have a kind of small theater, and where they can, people can stop, can look to the view, or even to give a lesson, because they have a lot of activities explaining the trees, explaining the birds, and all these other things that can happen. Yes, all this thing is infrastructure with every high tech, so you can make lessons, you can make a theater, you can do a lot of things connected with a major building, and so there happens a lot of activities. And one of the last ones was Saralva's museum, as every summer all the park is it's with lights. They invited an artist, and this artist makes lights, different kinds of lights. And this here, this designer, this artist, Nuno Maia, he designed very beautiful projections of different kinds of lights. But for the treetop, I'm very thankful to him because he planned these big moons, so it gives a very beautiful light. And it's very interesting that the building renovates himself, so it's changing all the time, and it depends of the hours of the day, but also even during the night. Another winery that I finished last year, although the pandemic situation, it is a very beautiful area. So it's another area. We have 5, 6 fantastic areas of wine. This is down, more or less in the center of Portugal. And so a company bought this land. They asked me to make it. There was a very ugly and bad quality winery. So we just demolished it and made a new one. And so it was necessary to design not only the building but also the landscape, because of there's quite a sophisticated way of making how the grapes arrive, how the wine cannot be pumped, must be go down with gravity, how the wine goes then to be put in the bottle. So this is quite an interesting way. And so the landscapes, well, it's more or less always in Portugal, almost everything is green. And you see that was very important, not only for the client, but also for me, how the way we put the building. Also, one typical thing, on a winery, that you need to preserve wine. So temperature, usually there's no much light, but I try to have light, natural light inside, so that when you visit, you can have a kind of mysterious life. Not too much, but enough. So they asked me to make a nice balcony because they wanted to have some tasting of the wine outside to look to the property. And of course, we use, and now it's a big issue, we use cork, a national product. We are the biggest producers of cork. We are a small country, but we are the world's biggest producer of cork. So we made all insulation, thermal insulation with cork. It was quite easy because the company, the owners of the winery are the biggest producers of cork in Portugal. So we made quite a huge. I could design the pieces of the cork. So it was a very interesting issue. And of course, they like people to visit the winery, but they don't want people to visit the winery. So because the rules of cleaning the winery, everything needs to be so clean because we are making food. So they asked me that they would like that visitors visit the barrel hall where the wine stays for a longer time, but they don't want people on the floor. So I designed a walkway hanging from the ceiling so that the people could visit it without putting the foot on the ground. This is the main hall where the big barrels in concrete or in stainless steel are located. And of course, the wooden structure, the wooden presence is quite important, not only because it's nice the way the building breathes, but also it's nice to see and it gives a good ambience. So you can see this, the outside balcony, you can look outside and be outside. They have many visitors from abroad and from Portugal. And another building that I designed on the previous winery that I showed you, the winery is doing quite well, and they asked us, because we have a big development of tourism in Portugal, to make 4 little apartments for tourists. So you can see this big property with different wine the grapes, different qualities, red, white, something like that. And in the middle of that, there is these buildings. And I designed it in wood, all wood structure, wood panels. This is not yet finished, so that we have a living room on the ground floor. On the mezzanine, we have a small bedroom looking to the view. The view is fantastic, always changing the colors. And so it is special areas of wood all around that gives you much comfort and much peace, I believe. So you can see this view of the sleeping area. And how it, because the ground is not smooth, it's a lot of movement on the topographic ground. We designed a little water tank. We are not allowed to make swimming pools, kind of water tank, but where of course people can swim. But because there's not much water in this area, so but we developed this stone water tank, and it's almost finished. With very careful woodwork. It's a pleasure to work with in Portugal with people that work with wood. They're very good. Usually they're really very good. I like very much this kind of people. And so you can see that although I made all the buildings, and little by little everything is renovated and the ambience is getting better. As last project, these are some 3D images. I would like to show you one little project titled we designed with Alvaro Caesar. It's very special because it's in South Korea, but made in Portugal. Not only the design, but also everything. So we have this very nice old client. We worked for him for a long time. We designed the stone house, the white one, nearby the sea, some years ago. And then he asked us to make a tea house. But he is one of the biggest producers of green tea in South Korea. But in reality, when they ask us a tea house, it's a wine house. It's where they drink wine. Because South Koreans, they drink really is crazy. And they drink also tea. They drink tea during the day, and at night they drink wine. And he asked us to have a kind of pavilion with a room to be not so close to the house, but to be close to the house for friends and for guests. And of course it was a pleasure because we did it with our carpenters in Portugal. We put every piece into containers, and the 4 carpenters went to South Korea without speaking a word of English, speaking a word of South Korean, and they put up all this house, and it's very interesting, also very close to the sea. He's very happy. Of course, they also are very special in landscapes, very fast. They organize the gardens, and it seems that it's there for a long time, but because they are very keen on plantations and moving trees. They move trees all around. It's amazing. We cannot do that in Portugal. If you touch a tree easily, it dies. But it's ambience. We also designed some of the interior pieces. So this is the balcony looking to the sea, and going in the tradition of Korea, Japan, and even China. We did all these with sliding doors. So everything slides. We can almost open everything. The living room, but also the small sleeping rooms. Can be totally open, totally closed, half open to the left, half closed to the right. So it was very interesting. And it's very interesting also to think this, to make it at home, and then to bring it to South Korea. And so this is our experience. Most of it is our pleasure. So we have a lot of pleasure to do this. We are very happy to have very good clients that became our friends. And I believe that wood can be not the solution for the future, but a very good solution for many problems. And although many people say that it's a lot of maintenance, a lot of problems, it's not true. Wood can be wood forever, especially because we are not here forever. So it's enough. And I hope we enjoyed it. Thank you for.
Obrigado. Obrigado means thank you in Portuguese. So we picked up a Portuguese word. Okay.
One second. Obrigada, it's the Portuguese word, like Professor Nadia said, to say thank you, and is the origin of thank you in Japanese, arigato. So because we were the first ones from Occidental, from the West to achieve Japan, and they took some of the words from Portuguese vocabulary, and one of the most famous is this, arigato and obrigado. So you can see, almost the same thing.
No, thank you very much. We learn something new every day. We're moving now from interesting architecture with wood, and we're going to be moving to the field of design. It gives me great pleasure to welcome back to Sharjah Artur Suarez. Some of you may have met him in a previous presentation that we had in Sharjah last spring. He is the founder and creative director of Designers Mint. He also teaches design. His background is an architect as well. However, he decided to shift careers, and his master's was focused on furniture design, right? And since then, he has worked on numerous projects in architecture, interior design, as well as product design. So without further ado, please welcome Artur to the podium. All yours. Thank you.
Hi everyone. Thank you for coming here. Thank you, Nadia, for this invitation for the second time. So I'm here, as Nadia said, I'm architect, but my study already is furniture design because I have the past in this industry because my grandfather started a company of furniture, and so after that coming to my father, and after that the stories continue. Hope so for my sons, and let's see. So I'm here to speak about the furniture designer, and now it's important to see how the people sometimes in shows coming to us and tell me, Arthur, why now the Portuguese furniture design are so trendy? And that is the reason why, and I will try to show you why now and not before, and hope to see by the next years this. So we are starting to, as Carlos said, with the heritage. Portuguese is a country with a long time ago, and so we have the power to have that lessons coming from the past, and let's see in the future we can start to work with that. So to create a contest, I think I need to talk about these connections. The connection between industry and designer, the connection between handmade and technology, and the connection between innovation and heritage. So start about the industry and designer. About probably the 80s and the 90s, the Portuguese industry in the furniture tried to make the internationalization, coming to get a good price and get quality. So the design at this time is not very important, for sure it's important, but what we are trying to do when we are going to international markets and international exhibition is trying to show to the outside that we could produce with good quality, good design, but not with the identity. So we are trying to be very competitive at this time. And as you know, the designers by that time wasn't recognized like an add value for the industry furniture. So they are expensive, they are the guys who make some sketch, but not sell or produce directly. So what is happening is the designers by the 80s and the 90s start to go outside the country, trying to get the opportunity to show what they can do. And they have a little bit like a twist by the beginning of the millennium, and they create a connection between the designers and the industry. So the designers, they are going to do, as I said before, to the outside, was get the recognition, and so the industry tried to see, okay, we have quality here, we don't need to go outside, let's try to see what you can do together. And what is good for all, because we can have the industry, and now we're gonna have the designers trying to make that connection and try to create something new. So the message that we want to share is we are not here just to get a quality and get the cheap price, but now we have the design, and that was very important. So by that umbrella, made and designed in Portugal, we can create and show that we are more than producers. We are designers. We are the guys that have quality, like the other ones in Italy, in France, and in other countries. So at this moment, the designers start to be recognized as an important resource. We are the guys with the technical skills. We are creative. We have the vision. We can make the design concept for the industry. And so what's going to happen at this moment is the industry trying to get some these furniture designers from that companies, for furniture companies. And the other end, we have some brands, for example, like me, that we're going to create the studio, create our collection, and after that, trying to get the partnerships between the industry. So what's going to happen? Suddenly, as designers, we have to get two very good tools to work. We have the artisans with the very good skills, and the other end we have the technology, the CNC machines, and all the powerful that we're going to have in our country. Also, the designers start to try to understand how can create, because what's going to happen before, when you go to the furniture industry, we have the guys that create some good sketch, beautiful sketch, and how we can produce it. And when we show the sketch to some producer in the furniture company, they say, okay, it's impossible to do, forget it. But now we can start to see how we can do it. We go to the floor of the facilities and try to work with the materials. And this is a very good add value, because I know that sometimes when I go to the industry and show any sketch for my brand, and when the producer says, it's impossible, now I can say, why it's impossible? Because what? If we can do with this material, this, and this, we can do that. Oh, I see. I don't see by that way, but probably it could be possible. Let's try. And sometimes it's happening. A few days ago, I spoke with a colleague and from another brand, and the guy told me, it's impossible to do that chair. Do you know what I did? I created a prototype of the chair and said, now tell me it's impossible. I said, oh, I see, with that. Okay, it's possible to create that. And it's different, because now with the know-how that we have, we can be helpful and try to help this. So this, for example, is the two partners that we have in Portugal, and as you can see, the small one, we can create prototypes, the guys is usually coming with us, and we can go to there working and try to create a prototypes. And on the other end, we had a very big company with the technology and could be helpful for us. And for example, in that time, we can work with handmade and help us with the technology and CNC machines to help us. For example, in that corner in the right side, it's a piece that we have, it's handmade, but to see if it's possible to create that, we make the AutoCAD file, go to a CNC machine, trying to work that, and after that, we see it's possible, so let's try to do with handmade. And in the left side, it's another piece that the guy do it with a simple sketch and create that piece. And in the metalworks, it's the same. We can create with laser cut, and by the other end, we can work with the technical and the traditional techniques that we usually have there in Portugal. And here we come to the last, and the innovation and the heritage that we have. So in Portugal, we are as designers, and we have that heritage behind us. We can work with tiles, filigrane, cork, plaster, wood, and fabrics and ceramics. And this is also what we introduced in the furniture industry in the last years. What we did before is working, if the market said it's like redwood,
we work with lacquer wood. If the market said we need high-glossy with LEDs and something else, we work with that. But now we try to see what our past show us, what the lessons we learn, and after that we start working with different. That is in my opinion, one of the biggest innovations that we made. We have a very know-how and historical and cultural heritage in Portugal. And that is the innovation, in my opinion, that we apply in the design. For example, in Martin, what we learned before, and that is probably the reason how some people say now Portugal is trendy, is because of that. We now learn to sell Portugal as a brand. In production, is that what I told before, the connection between the designers and the industry. It was very important. And in market position, now we are not more selling the cheap price. Now we sell good design and good quality, and they have a cost, as you know. And in heritage is that designers are storytellers, so with the past that we have, it's easy for us to create a story behind the piece. And it's important because the client won't want that right now. They want to create an emotional relationship between the piece and the customer. And we are trying to do that. We have the knowledge, we have the background, so for us to create create a concept for the piece, it's easy. It's more and less. But it's more easy now with the knowledge that we have before. And now, as we have the handmade and the traditional technique as an added value, we are working with that. We are, for example, in our company, coming back, we are working with lots, and we have the slogan is handmade with passion. And that is what we really wanted. We want to work with the technology, for sure, to create quantities when the client needs it. But by the other end, we are working with artisans and create the prototypes and working a lot of that because it's added value by our company. It's very important for us. Actually, in another end, we have to that, and it was very helpful for small brands with not the power to go to a lot of shows and the associations, for example, like Aimmp with Association Design, create that, helping some small brands to introduce in the market and create the internationalization. Because it's impossible for a small brand, when we're talking about 4 or 5 guys, to go to coming here in Dubai, after that go to Riyadh, after that go to America, and it's an investment, a very huge investment for us. So with the association, we create a partnership, we create the shows, and the association is very helpful for us. And the creation and the networking that we have outside the country is very important for us to create new customers and going around with the world with our brand. So this is some companies that started to working, and we have a lot of companies. It was one day I select, but it's important to have that. Now we are, as you can see in the pictures, we don't have only the lacquered wood, don't have only the high gloss wood. We have a different feeling and an experience that we have in our country, and it's very important for us. So this is to finishing. This is, for my opinion, what we are bet and need to see what's going to happen next is the new challenge that we're going to have. And this, for me, is a big problem that we're probably going to have in Portugal. Is how to make sure that traditional techniques won't be lost in the coming years. Because the evolution and the technology and the people trying to get all cheap as the final with what's going to happen, yes. And I spoke yesterday, for example, with Aldo from Bistaleg. The people need to create a new twist and need to see how the young guys don't want to go in Portugal, and I think it's all in all countries. The young people only want to be doctors, architects, engineers, trying to get a very good job. And now we need to see how we're gonna create something that's gonna be lost in the next years. And this we're gonna be talk this afternoon in the Dubai Design District. So you are welcome to visit us if you want it. And thank you for your time. See you soon. Bye.
Thank you very much. We will go now and introduce the association. As you heard, usually designers like yourself, when you come up with a product, it's very difficult to actually market it, promote it, not only at the national level, but the regional and the international level. So one of the main jobs is to find somebody who can do that for you in a very efficient and effective way, and that's how you are promoted. So to talk more about it, we are back to Mr. President. Would you like me to start with the video? Yeah? Okay. So now we're going to see how this actually happens, and this is very important for our young designers when you want to move to the next stage in life. Yeah.
There's a new lifestyle emerging every single moment. Day after day, increasingly faster and unconsciously unaware, makes us indirectly responsible for all the negative things that we do to the environment. The increasing use of new technologies has transformed convenience routines between parents and children to a lack of reduced hours of leisure by spending too much time in front of a computer screen. Today we verify new groups of family members, consequences of various factors of society that need to be carefully observed. Nowadays, the family members are one adult with no child, one couple without children, one couple with children, one adult with children, among others. These, among others, are some of the causes of a life-changing habits for the future families. For this motive, we launch a challenge. We would like to challenge you to create for the future. We want you to create new products for the new future families. Products surrounded and fitted to any kind of lifestyle. Mainly, we want sustainable products. Let's commit to our environment. Join us by drawing the future. And you, do you accept the challenge? More information in adchallenge.pt.
AD, Associative Design Project, is the answer of the question and the amazing presentation that Artur made for us. Associative design is the umbrella brand mark of Aimmp to promote our products in the international markets. As well, we want to be certification system and to be associative design. It's need to have 4 characteristics: innovation, technology, design, and sustainability. So when you see some products with the umbrella associative design, you have think that these products have these characteristics: innovation, technology, design, and sustainability. So this is our main project to stay in the international markets with showcases, exhibitions like in Downtown Design Dubai, as well in the internet. We are creating the internet store and the certification. We have 2 prizes. The Guilherme Award is to promote the design with students, and the AD Challenge for professionals. The editions are organized between 2 and 2 years. Some money for the winners, and we have a beautiful experience with the new products was made by these prizes. So as well, we promote the production of prototypes to show in the exhibitions. So, and we have some investment in studies about design or exhibitions or prizes or international publicity, internet, networking, social media. So there are a lot of activities in the frame of this umbrella. This umbrella means that all products of our sector, as I say, Aimmp is an association of the all file in wood, as in packaging, saw milling, packaging, panels, carpentry, furniture. All products can be member of the associative design if have these characteristics, these 4 characteristics. So we are very committed with this idea, with this project, and I think that is amazing to see in this room that there are a lot of ladies. It means that in your country the ladies are changing and are very committed with the design, with the shoes for your homes, for your life, and I'm very happy to see the rights of the humans going up, and I think that the associative design can give for your houses some solutions, some answers for your likes, for your life. So believe that we are in the best way to promote our design, our European design, to come with the products for this region. Thank you very much. In this frame, I will apply. I will be in the close connection with the school, the art of fine and design of University Sharjah. Nadia, I'm very available to work with your school in the future in this frame, and I think that we can make some projects, joint projects with success in this market. Thank you for all. So the last, I want to invite you to come with us for the lunch. Thank you very much.
Good, we are back on schedule. Thank you very much, gentlemen. I don't know how you managed. We started late, but we are on schedule. The last half an hour, and to conclude between questions and answers, as well as tie the presentations to the UAE, I was asked to do a counter presentation, not knowing what you were going to be presenting, and I was pleasantly surprised. I wrote the question. I wrote the question. Okay, and I'm quoting. How to make sure that traditional techniques won't be lost in the coming years. That was your question. This is your answer from the UAE, and I didn't know what their presentations were like. I want to start, since we are in a few weeks celebrating the Golden Jubilee of the UAE. I wanted to title the presentation, Rising from the Sand Dunes, a tribute to a nation's Golden Jubilee. And I'm going to be using design to show how the UAE has actually risen from the sand dunes. This is a gift from the college to the people of the UAE. So, what do we know? It's standby. What we do know is some of the work that normally international architects and designers come and do contribute to promoting the UAE through its architecture and design. And of course, everybody knows the Louvre and what it's known for. Yes, it's very particular and specific to the UAE because the architecture is based on massing and the notions of shades and shadows which are taken from the local architecture. Another example, and I'm just basically using different parts of the UAE, is the House of Wisdom here in Sharjah, and this is Norman Foster and partners. And the concept behind here is the courtyards and the layering through screens. Again, two very particular design principles that we are very, very familiar with in the region. The third example that I would like to share is the vision, and while the architecture looks very futuristic, it is very much embedded in the region because it talks about sustainability and the use of panels given the solar energy that we have, as well as the use of calligraphy integrating it. So these are three very important examples, but what I want to focus is not on these, but actually less known work of local architects and designers who are actually promoting design exactly the way the Portuguese are doing this in the examples that we saw. So Carlos, in your case, you are talking, I was looking at your architecture, and your design is very much gently touching the land. You are very sensitive to what you have, really, whether it's not only small, it's light. And with the same sensitivity, I think the two examples I've just shared with you perhaps does it each of it in its own way. And after that, Artur, you will see that some of the designers who are promoting product design, I've selected to focus randomly on 4 Emirati young artists and designers. So, again, the inspiration is what we have over here, which is Al Fahidi Fort in Dubai. That's one of the oldest buildings in existence, 1787. And what the response of the architects, these two, Rita knows them, they were her classmates and my students, and I'm very proud of the work that they've done. This architecture too is now the trend that is going on within the Emirati architects and designers. And when I say Emirati, they are by nationality, or they are actually designers who are educated in the Emirates just like our students. So the message is to everybody who is educated in architecture and design and the arts here in the UAE. So the example that you see over here blends within the culture and the nature of the existence, and it is wood. It happens to be teak. And if you go back just for a minute, the design itself comes from Al Arish, which is the shaded area between the homes, which was more of a public area, semi-public area. And the other inspiration comes from the process of making, which Artur, you talked about, which is why I'm answering to your question. And in this case, is the Dow building, which of course is made of wood. And as you said, wood in water, you would think it doesn't work, but this is an example where it continues to be in use. So this is one project. The other project is quite different, and this is where I think, Carlos, we were talking about how do you touch land and yet not abuse it in a way. This is a project by a woman architect, Dabah. She's originally from Saudi Arabia, but she does a lot of work over here. Again, this is in Sharjah. It's only about half an hour from here, and it's worth seeing. It's an archaeological dig site, and this is the museum part of it. Again, as you can see over here, it is intended to work with the landscape and not sort of impose itself on it. So these are just for architects, but I want to focus on design because we are a school of design. And this is the response to what you were saying, which is taking the crafts and the arts that we actually have locally and then take it to the next level by not only educating the next generation, but empowering them to take it to the next level, because we do not want to repeat what is there. We have our own identity, our own taste, our own way of using things. And so, of course, this is the telly that's used over here. And the question becomes, who are some of the designers who do this? I want to start with Azza Qubaisi. She's an artist from Abu Dhabi. She's actually considered the first jewelry designer in the UAE, was educated in England. And this particular bench came from her visiting her family's palm grove. And she saw the gardeners and the landscapers throwing the material out. So she actually took it and created something that's very sustainable. This was on exhibit in the Milano Design Week in 2018. The other important part, and here because we are in Sharjah, I have to pay homage not just to Sharjah, but actually to the women who are contributing. This is a project that is primarily by women for women. Yes, there are male designers who contribute to it. It's called Aimmp, and as you can see over here, it's a collaborative that actually promotes female traditional artists, craftswomen, and they engage both contemporary young designers from the UAE and from outside the UAE. This is an example of what they do over here. So this is a Hajar chair. Again, these are, Rita, you know the art designers behind it. These are architects turned product designers. And so when design students ask, what do we do? Why are we not in architecture? Actually, there is a big shift, as you can see today, where architects are actually moving to product design. So hopefully our interior design students will consider product design because you are equipped within your education to do so. In this case, this is sand cast with clay, sand, and concrete, cement. And the weaving, as you can see, comes back from the traditional, but it is done using camel leather, so camel hide. So this is quite sustainable, not only as a craft, but actually as a final product. Another example, and this gentleman works a lot with wood, if you don't know him. Khalid Shafar, actually, again, was a business major. And then for his master's, he went and worked on design, and he does a lot of product design. He's the owner of Casa, K-A-S-A. He works a lot with wood, and as you can see over here, he takes the garbour, which is a local fishing net, and turn it into a product that's extremely contemporary, and it is sort of somewhere between function and just a piece of art, but a functional piece of art that is a sliding shelf that opens and closes. And then we have a Jude Luther, another well-known Emirati designer. She finished her degree in applied media at the higher colleges of technology, and she now owns her own brand, as you can see over here. Here again, she took the idea of khus and done the weaving with the piece of leather that you see over there, and the front and the back, as you can see, that too is woven. And last but not least, I would like to take this opportunity to wish the UAE and our Emirati students, colleagues, everybody a very happy anniversary. So I mention this so that we can actually get the question and answer going, because hopefully this is just to tie and see where we could actually use materials that tend to be thought of that you cannot use it traditionally. One of them is going to be wood. And how do we actually move forward with the wonderful opportunity, Victor, that you mentioned, so we could have product designs that could be part of students' attempts towards entrepreneurship. So thank you very much for the opportunity. Questions and answers? Yes. Introduce yourself so they know who you are, and please ask the question. I think I'm going to leave one floating. Yeah, it can float. Yeah.
Good morning, everyone. Good afternoon. Thank you very much for this interesting presentations and beautiful design that's been from architecture side and from furniture. My name is Nadia. I'm a faculty in Interior Design Department at the College of Fine Arts. And my question is, definitely I agree with the beauty of the wood and the nature and how it gives like a warm feeling to any interior space, if it's residential or commercial. I just need to know, you mentioned at the beginning that due to our weather and the temperature and the humidity in the UAE, what's the best type of wood, if it's a natural wood or it's been treated? Like, I mean, if there is a natural wood that we can use it, the type, I mean, which is really can fit or it's not going to be affected quickly in this weather, or there is no natural wood that can fit that we need to treat it. So I hope I just need to know the right answer, that we can have a sustainable wood will stay for long years within this weather. Thank you very much.
Well, we are almost not 100%, but we are almost only using certified wood nowadays. So wood that is cut from plantations. So we try. We still have some. We try not to use tropical wood. So all the wood we are using, it's pine trees that are from plantations. So they cut the trees, they plant. So more or less the policy is cut one, plant three. So it's a production of wood. It's not an environment problem. Okay. Of course, we have also other kind of trees that give special wood for furniture. By example, I'll give you an example of the wine barrels. Those wine barrels, the most famous in Europe, are from France, and they are production wood that some king long time ago planted, and now he planted not for barrels, he planted for boats, but now they are using them for barrels. So the plantation is a factory now, so it's easy to be comfortable by using wood, so that we are not making an environment problem. All the wood must be treated, especially when there is humidity, because there's a lot of animals and fungus and things like that like the parts of the wood. But if there is humidity, if there is no humidity, there's no problem. So you have almost, let's say, no humidity. You have some humidity in the air, but the fungus, I believe, is what I know, is not really a problem for you. And also there are a lot of insects. Usually those insects are not also present here. So to make things in wood here, although it was already a tradition, I don't think it's a problem. I showed you some small examples of buildings, but nowadays there are very big examples of flats, kind of towers. There's one project for London with 42 floors. So there's a big capacity of using wood. I don't think that wood, like I said, more or less in the end of my presentation, is the solution. So, and I hope that we are not going to use wood 100% in everything. So then we're going to have a big environment problem, of course. But wood, it can be very interesting, very comfortable. It's easy to transport, it's easy to put up to. And it's, for me, it's a very beautiful material, especially when it's used as a structure and at the same time as finishing. Not every material can be there like that. And so it's a choice, but it's a solution also. But you need to treat the wood, and there are many examples. Before we were using a lot of chemicals, not anymore now. Okay, well, there are chemicals, but not environment aggressive. But it's possible, and there are examples. I met I visit the buildings not only in Europe but especially in Asia, where buildings with 900 years, 1,000 years, and they're still there. So it's a very good material. Became not so good because of commercial publicity, bad publicity in this case, about the wood and maintenance. I live in a house that is already 21 years, and I don't need much more maintenance than any other. Everything needs maintenance. We know that in our cars, if we don't make maintenance, we don't achieve our destiny. But in construction, it's the same. So if we build something, we need to know that we need some maintenance. Of course, nobody wants to have a lot of maintenance. But wood is the same. So it's a question of design, a question of how we're going to be built, and a little maintenance. And I believe that your environment it's very friendly for wood, because there's no much humidity in the sense of water on the soil that can bring some problems.
Thank you very much.
Good afternoon. Thank you for the presentations. It was really interesting. I'm Ibrahim from the Faculty of Fine Arts and Design, Interior Design program. Actually, I have two questions. The first one, what kind of materials that you usually use in your projects within the wood that it's not harmful, but at the same time easy to use in the way of fixing, constructing, tying, or do you use only the methods, the traditional methods or techniques for the construction, like the molds and ties, something like this? Sense of tying. This is the first question. The second question, it's about the traditions and innovation, as you mentioned. Do you believe that it has two aspects? Some have the traditions as a concept embedded in the design itself. Some have it as the shape, how it looks like, and I'm going to go within the shape as a concept. Which one did you follow, and how far this affects the social sustainability within the Portugal? Thank you.
Let's talk about the next joining. What do you use additives for the joining?
Well, for the last 18 years, I travel a lot to Asia. And one of the most pleasant for architects that like wood is to go to Japan. I think nowadays the only country that can doing systematically constructions only in wood is Japan. They really are crazy, and they for example, they have some temples, and they have an association for that temple, and every 20 years they dismount the temple and they remount the temple. Because they say that, it's typical Japanese, they say that the only way to preserve traditional and way is every generation do the same thing. You don't learn things by the books. You learn some things by the books. We do that thing also in Portugal, okay? But we have a lot of regulations. And so I already wrote and I already give some conference, and I usually say there are no wood houses. There are houses with wood. So with our regulation nowadays, we also have a little earthquake in Portugal. Japan has lots of earthquakes, but they don't care about these kind of things, even because these wooden structures are quite good for earthquakes. But we need to fulfill a lot of requirements, laws, so that it's stable, and especially when it's a public building. I do a lot of things with good carpenters on a very traditional way, with joints, very traditional, with almost no glues. But it's not so easy nowadays, because many times we need to give answers to regulations. And of course, more and more the regulations are stronger and present. But of course, I do a lot of joints in metal. There are a lot of joints, standard joints in the market. There are specialized companies that do that. I prefer to design. usually I design things. I do this with the smith and the carpenter, and I prefer to do this. But sometimes when it's a quite big building or the time is not so much, we need to use standard joints. But it's to make a building with wooden joints and wooden nails and things like that is fantastic and it's very interesting.
Let me try if I remember the end of the question. So about the process and the techniques that we usually work in our concept, it depends of the situation. What we usually try to do is to imagine the piece and the concept of the piece, and if it's possible to guarantee the traditional techniques, for sure we are trying to work with them. But as Carlos said, we have some joints in metal and hardware that could be a solution. It depends of the case. But I really want to have the eye of detail in the details. So even when the piece is the hidden pieces part it's important. So what we are trying to do, it depends of the piece, and it depends for sure if we are working with solid wood or leaves. The guarantee and the quality is a little bit different, as you know, and what we're trying to do is to usually focus and try to get traditional techniques in our products. If it's possible, fine for us. Sometimes it's very, very expensive to do some detail that could be much cheaper with the technology that we already have in our facilities. And so it depends of the case. If you are working with a small, very small collection, and the price isn't important because the client, what we are designing, understand that, and they could understand they will gonna pay, but they have the quality in the wood, they have the quality in the details. We for sure work with 100% techniques, traditional techniques that we already have. When we are working with the brand that we are having in the market and need to guarantee the design, the quality, and the same to get competitive price, we for sure trying to get what we have better in that case. But we usually, and we defend that in our brand, and almost brands defend that, is to get that traditional techniques, because it's very important. If 100% of the brands go to work with the CNC machines and the robots that we have there, the human wasn't being necessary by the next years, and this is going to be a problem. And honestly, in the beginning, when I entered in the market, I'm young. So when I go to the facilities, I really want to work with the machines. And when I finished my lecture in architecture, I was going to my grandfather facilities and work with CNC machine. I really want to work with that, and it's like play a game, and it's good. But after that, when I was going with small facilities, talk with artisans, and she told me, Arthur, my son don't care about that. I don't have anyone to really want to work with that details, and they really want to care about the art. It changed a little bit of my mind, and so after that, I started to see what these artisans did and are doing, and try to guarantee in my products how we could be helpful for them. Because if not, in a few years, it's going to be history, and it's a shame if this happens.
Thank you very much. Yes, question in the back? Yes.
Hi, hello. My name is Falcon. I'm an interior design student in the University of Sharjah. My question is, in comparison between veneer covered with manufactured wood covered with veneer and solid wood, which one is better according to the aesthetic appearance and according to the human and our country's weather?
So it depends. When we are working with a natural material, they have added value, as you understand. The noodle of the wood. First, when we are working with veneers, we are working with some lines, some papers, and it's novel wood too. But inside you have the plywood, you have the agglomerated, MDF. It depends. The solid wood, if everyone working with solid wood, we're gonna have a problem, because even if you're going down with a tree, you plant tree, but for sure I think that we're gonna have a lot of wood for that. So when we are working with and about the sustainability, we understand that when you work with the wood, what the garbage of the wood, let me show that, you can create another product, and another product you can be reusable. So it's different to work with that. I really like to work with both. But when we are working, for example, we have in the show some tables with a solid wood. You can work and create some joints, and it's beautiful. It's very high, and you understand. But you can have a suitable view. When you are working with veneers, it depends. If you're working with pre-compound leaves, it's more synthetic view. But when you are working with natural leaves, you are working with real wood, and you can work. We can work to create a match between the leaves. You can choose. I usually, for example, it depends of the project. But in the customized projects, I will go with my client to the facilities where you're gonna take a look of the wooden leaves, and you choose what you want for project, and it's really nice. It's when we are working with leaves, you have to have that conscience, but it's can have a very good view. But yes, it's a little bit different, as you understand, when you look in the solid material and when you look with leaf materials, we can see the difference. But it depends of the project. It depends the budget range that you have of the project, and if you're gonna start working in interior design, you're gonna see you can take it really depends. You're gonna play with both. We usually work with the solid wood on the legs, on some details to create the joints. You need to work with solid wood, or you can see the plywood or the agglomerated. It's not a fine view, in my opinion, but it depends on the project, and it could be a different solution, but the price is very, very different, and for sure it will depend on the project that you have in your hands.
I would like to say something. That we are very happy that we have so many things in our hand to use, and the choice, of course, is important. My house, I didn't show my house. I live in a wood house, really solid wood, let's say. It's 21 years old. The trees were cut maybe 30 years ago. It's still alive. Still makes noises. After 21 years, we still hear crackings and things like that. All the other materials, in a way, are more or less dead. And of course, that can be good also, because sometimes people don't accept that the material is moving. Sometimes you make a piece, and then it arrives to the client and says, well, it moved. The leg of the chair is not the same as the right one is not the same as that, because it's still alive. And you need to understand that as designer, but you also need to understand that as client. So that's not the same thing. You cannot expect. I usually say to my clients, but if you really want the floor equal, do it in plastic. Then your problem is solved. But you really want a wooden floor, they need to accept that is cracking, it's making noise, and there's different colors, let's say. And that is what we need to understand as designers, but also that we need to bring to our clients so that they understand. And there are, of course, things that you cannot do in solid wood, or then it becomes not impossible, but quite difficult. That's why the big structures are laminated or even with other. I already used laminated beams. They exist in the market standard. That much stronger than steel, for example, and even stronger than concrete. And why? Because at a certain moment, the own weight of the steel or even the concrete is much more important than what is going to support. So the wood is much lighter and much stronger. So we are so fortunate to have so many things in our hands. So because we live in a global world, and so the choice is there. So to choose plywood or to choose solid wood, it's a choice. And of course there are other things like prices and time and things like that, but it starts with the choice of the designer.
I want to say that wood is flexibility. You can make all in wood, and sometimes in the television I say, think that in the first time, seconds ago, all things started to be made by wood. You can make all in wood. And the wood is natural, and these characteristics for the health, the noise, the smell, the colors, the different species, the capacity, yes, learning. So it's the best for the against fire. Don't forget that if the towers in the United States was made in wood, don't dying a lot of people, because dying, yes, in the place that the airplane break, but the people could have time to going down with the time and not dying. And with these structures in steel, the temperature, the high temperatures, the towers going down. So there are a lot of characteristics. Temperature, humidity is better. And for your country, for instance, with this temperature, the wood is much better than concrete or another materials. And in the end, wood is recycling. So we can recycling wood, and you can have one packaging in wood, and 10 years later we can produce one furniture with the wood of the packaging, because you can renovate and to make about the circular economy. So wood is amazing. Of course, for your country that you have no forest, or you need to import wood, maybe sometimes it's much higher, it's much expensive, but the quality have a price, of course, but in the natural characteristics is better. And don't forget another thing. Portugal discovered the world by boats made by wood. So we have cycles of story to work with wood. And now I think that the last years, 100 years, we are improving the use of wood with the design. I think that this is the new challenge for us, as Arthur said, is improve our design and to make this connection between designers and industry. And this is my job, it's my task, by associative design. Improve this connection, improve the design in the service of the industries and the world. So please,
use wood.
And on that note, it gives me a great pleasure to allow the closing and concluding remarks to go to Dr. Daniel Pontes, who is actually from the Portuguese Embassy in the United Arab Emirates, Abu Dhabi. He's been with us for 5 years in this region as an economic counselor who covers the UAE, Saudi Arabia, and Qatar. So thank you very much, Dr. Daniel.
Thank you very much. I will be very brief. I will not make like a very official speech, otherwise it will be very tough and it will not be very interesting. But first of all, I need to start with the protocol part. So I want to say that unfortunately my ambassador was not able to be here. But you know, in our embassy and with his ambassador, we are very keen to work with Sharjah every time because we have a very strong relation with Sharjah, and as we always say, it's very, Portugal and Sharjah, we have very similar characteristics. So Portugal, it's not a big country, Sharjah, it's not a very big emirate also, but we have lots of things in common, and even we have Portuguese presences here in Sharjah. So first of all, I would like to address my small speech to the students. It's very good to have here students with us, and for you to see a little what we have in Portugal. I was very impressed with the work from the architect Carlos. I was not aware of all your works, but even I'm still impressed with what we are doing in Portugal and what we have. So, and also with the design that was presented by Artur, it's very interesting, and that's why we have lots of foreign artists and designers that wants to work with Portuguese companies. For instance, in Portuguese companies, porcelain, and in other areas, we have international designers that want to make a special piece for this Portuguese brand. Why? Because we are known that we have quality, and more people see that this is true, and that's why we have very international designer that wants to work with us. Then I would like to say to the students that foresee all these design we have, you need to go to Portugal. So the last time I saw Professor, I told her that now you need to do a student trip to Portugal. We will love to organize that. I'm sure Mr. Vitor will help us also to have this tour, and you need to go there and you need to see with your own eyes as what we have. And we will be most pleased to help you. From the embassy, I will help you with the visas. So if you have problem with the visas, we will help. And last but not least, I would like to invite you to see our pavilion at Expo Dubai. So in our pavilion, we try to show our design. The pavilion it's a public tender, but it's by a Portuguese very famous cabinet of architects, Horário de Portugal, and that is it's a stylish building, let's say, that shows like a ship that is very famous in Portugal. On the first hand, you'll not understand, but if you go there and visit, please let me know, and will be most helpful to show you and to explain to you what is the concept. And then now, today actually, we are starting for 1 month the sector of design and furniture in the pavilion. So we are going to have exhibitions, we are going to have activities to show the Portuguese design and furniture. So please try to go there during this. It will start today and it will finish on the 12th December. And it will be, I will be very pleased to have you there. And we have a very nice restaurant also with a very Portuguese known chef. And we have a Portugal concept store. Just for you to understand, this is a store, not a store of the pavilion, but is a pilot project with a store where you can see, let's say, not the best of Portugal, but one of the best design things that we have in Portugal. So you have design for a very known Portuguese brands, and you can see a little what kind of design we have and what we have to give you. So thank you very much, and I'm waiting for you in the Portuguese pavilion and at the embassy also.
Thank you very much for the invitation. Without any further ado, our students are hungry and they have classes. Thank you very much again, and we look forward next time to receiving you in the college. I appreciate everybody for being here. I actually noticed this is one of the few times where we did not lose our audience. Whoever came stayed for the duration. Thank you very much, and thank you very much to Sharjah Research Technology and Innovation Park for allowing us this opportunity. Thank you. Students, if you pick up something for lunch, since there is no food, no food in the college, and then we can go, so we can food and then school.